Okay.
There we go.
Well, that sucked.
Yep, there you go. Now you popped on. Now you're back live. There we go.
All
But
right.
yeah.
So they can watch the first video, you can watch the second one, whatever. Well, we're back. So if you're starting out again, this is Shaggy's with Shaggy's Consulting and Charles with Lefty, Left Lane with Lefty. And we've been buds forever. If you guys have comments, put it in the comments. And we're talking about five reasons, 6 reasons why you guys got into trucking that I think personally, and Charles can add his in there. And then we're going to go to a slide that says 10 reasons why carriers fail in the first 1 year or less. It's my favorite topic. All right. So the next one is this one. Now, so the next topic on here has happened before the last 5 years and in the last 5 years. And this is one of the most biggest ones I've ever heard. Your best friend, Facebook, YouTube, or your relative
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
talk you into it because you're the one with the money.
Yep.
And then who gets left with the bag?
You do.
I love
You
this
do.
one, right? Almost all the
Yep.
time. I've had this conversation. This is my second favorite one. The first one's a great investment idea. I got money saved up, 401 way. I got out of the military. Sounds like a killer idea, right? Second
Mm-hmm.
one is my best friend, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram epiphany popped in my head because Johnny told me to start, right?
Yep. I have a perfect example of that. I got a friend of mine went out and bought a truck. He's got family that's in trucking out of New Jersey. All right. But he lives in Florida. He had a friend of ours, and I know both of them very well. He got a truck. Guy told him, "Hey man, you buy the truck, I can make money. I can show you how we can do this. We can do this. I'll drive the truck. We'll make money. I can show you how to get the loads. Da 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 da." So the man talked him into buying the truck. So the man bought his very first truck, got in it. He drove it, I think, a month, and then said, "Nah, man, I want something different." So he got stuck with the truck. Then he called me. I ended up putting another driver in that truck and trying to help him out just so he could start making quick cash to get some money coming back in, because he used his other company to support the trucking company to start it, which was putting them all behind. So he ended up getting that going, and then ended up being, I think, 3 other drivers in 6 months, and the truck's been parked for now over a year because he ain't got a driver that could drive it. And when he bought the truck, he didn't buy the equipment for what he needed to be, what he was trying to do with it, for another reason. But yeah, I already know somebody in that situation that got talked into it, spent the 50 grand on the truck, and then now he's, yeah,
I've heard that story so many times.
yep.
That's nuts, dude.
I just didn't realize I was going to be part of one of those. I didn't realize it was going to be one of my friends that got in it. And I said, "Dude, why? Why?"
But it's always the part where they're in, and then they don't want to talk. I got to do it. I'm already there. I got to do it. Well,
Yep.
no, you don't. So
No,
here's one for you. This is
sell
a
the
good one
truck.
for you.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Number 3. I'm in a situation, and by getting a trucking company, I'll have more independence. Is that a good reason? Like, be you're an owner operator, and you have connections. You want to do more things. I want independence to have control of my current situation. What do you think?
Depending on the case, maybe. But nine times out of
What
ten,
about wanting to
nine
make more
times out of
money?
ten, that would not be a good case if you don't understand. If you have not done the research on being an owner operator,
Right.
because now you got more liability legalities to go with it. If you didn't do the research, and then you get out there and something screws up, let's say someone breaks into your trailer and steals part of your load. Now you're responsible for all of it. Or you're a day late and you're trying to figure out, well, I can just drop it here, do whatever. Now you're responsible. Or you ain't got the right amount of insurance to cover something like that.
Going ahead, we're not on the next slide. We're just talking about, do you think people come in because they want to change their current situation?
Yes,
That's
a lot of them do want to change their current situation.
We're not talking about the plan, why they failed yet, or why they didn't have the information and they're going to fail. We're talking about the reason why they jumped into this suddenly. And
Yeah,
right,
yeah. A lot of them would like a change, something different. Hey, I could be my own boss. I can. I got told there's all kinds of money in it. I can make money. My family don't have to worry about it. I can buy the boat, her the new car. I get me a new truck. Get the kids, better things. I can get a bigger house. Sure, yeah, I can do this. $100,000 in a year. Shoot, $10,000 a week if I'm running. Yeah, yeah. I got all these good promises, man. I got told this.
and
Yeah.
we had that volume going on our show, so I reposted it again. And now everybody's getting all these groups would be like, "Why did he post it twice? Because the first one fell." Oh crap! Now we got more people coming in. He liked it
Good.
yesterday. Look, Charles, Jared, meet Charles.
Hey, Jerry,
Am I
you were
on?
on here yesterday, weren't
You
you?
ever want a cool guy to come on your show as a guest at night? Give Jared a call. He's been my friend about as long as you have, and
All right.
drinking everybody. And he does a brokerage. He's in the reefer world. He's almost as old school as half the guy you know. He just looks nicer, a little more cleaned up.
I'm an old
He
soul.
looks like he's a little cleaned up. Shaggy.
So wanted that's what happens when you go into the office, because real reefer haulers and stuff don't look so professional and they still run a business. Because I just met the one earlier. His name's Doug, and it's funny because I was telling Jared about him. I'm like, dude, the guy's got a new authority. It's Doug. He's like a 35-year-old reefer hauler. And I was like, can you help me with him? Because I'm the dry van guy. He's like, but I don't really dispatch new authorities. And see, Jared, we teach Jared about opening his mind up and networking and stuff. So he's like, Jared makes everybody's mistake. He says, well, I don't have the power for dispatching right now because I'm working on this. And I really don't want to take on a new guy. And I said, he has 35 years. See, I run into this problem with salespeople all the time because immediately when I get a phone on Charles or Doug telling Doug that, man, this morning that I was trying to help him. I don't know if I can help him yet because I only got 2 customers with produce I was trying to connect. Immediately, Doug goes, well, shit, man. Do you know Mr. Lamb? Do you know the Wayne guy up in Wisconsin that has all the nurseries everywhere and does all the produce in Texas and stuff? Do you know this guy? I've been hauling direct for them forever. I can get you connected. And I'm like, wow, poor Jared. But I'm actually
Yeah.
not for Jared. I'm actually going to do a 3-way with him later today and help. But it's just the point. You think about one thing sometimes, but you forget because you're so busy that you immediately look the wrong way. But the opportunities that you could have when you have a sales guy trying to do something, but this
Yeah.
guy has been working direct with these guys forever, and he's your doorway. Because Jared
Yeah,
could call those guys
he's
18
the key to
times.
the door. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you may not have the connections, and he's looking for you for the work, and you may not have the connections, but he's got all the keys to open up all the doors to help him out and help you out,
isn't that
and be
funny
able
how
to
that
bring on
changed in a
more
matter of
people.
minutes, Jared? Because then you do that, Jared. Immediately you start going the negative way. Like, you told me 3 things, and immediately I was like, in my head, I was like, well, this guy's been in it forever. This guy's never even used a factoring company. I was thinking in my head, I bet you all the customers he's worked for relationships with Lamb down in Vincent, Wayne up there. I bet you he already knows who they are.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've been in that situation.
Go ahead, Jared. I was just
I'm saying
busting
I
your
understand
chops.
that, but you know where we came from initially. I broke off from the company I started with back in 2013, and
Scoot a little closer to your mic.
let me turn it up on the settings here.
Yeah, so you're a little louder.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
Okay. So I
How
started
does
off back. I started off in helping smaller carriers and owner
you're
pros.
like
That's
me,
how you and I met,
smaller
and
version.
it's just it's extremely time consuming, and everybody kind of took advantage of that whole
All of
situation.
us.
So we run our own trucks, and we run our freight brokerage to partner with that, and we run our agricultural side of things. So I wrote it off with you because we don't have a dispatch division. We're
No.
not even set up for that. But
Yeah, it's just,
right, yes, if there's other opportunities in place where we can partner, sure. So my apologies for writing things off quickly,
no,
but
no, no. I was just, you didn't write anything off. It's just how I wanted to use an example of how you were busy and I brought an opportunity, right? And everybody does it. And immediately we think about what we can't do because of what you just said, right?
right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we would take the time sometimes to network a little farther and investigate, it's the idea how many people leave this shit on the table.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do anything wrong. I still caught it. We're still going to have the call, and I'm still going to have you go up there with them and get in those farms because I'm not a produce guy. This is your shit. The guy
Shoving it down my throat. Like,
yeah, the
listen here,
two that he
motherfucker.
named off, I know for
This
a
is
fact.
your lane, but he's helping you to. What he's saying is he's helped you. He caught the problem that you overpassed or overlooked
Yeah,
to
because his
help
mind
you
is
to make.
not charity
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
His mind is fixing his own problem, getting owner operators that can fix his stuff, and getting
And 90% of
we're
the
all
time,
in rebuild, right?
and I'll say 80% of the time, drivers do that too because they think about what they can't do and not realize, well, hold on, let me network with this guy
Yeah.
and I can get you in touch with this and we can work something out and we can, it'll help
You know
you.
for a
Help
fact,
me.
leads don't come from just cold calling and selling and hoping you get lucky, Jared.
No,
Leads come from having 25 truck drivers that are in the situation
Yep,
that
banging
have an
doors. Yep.
experience, right?
yeah, yeah,
And customers, like you said, the other best leads aren't calling new people. It's taking the leads you currently have and getting them to sell for you because you work so hard to be like Jared.
That's right.
yeah,
You know what I mean? This goes back to what I was saying. We're getting off topic for this class, but if you're in business today, no matter where you're at, if I don't know you own a produce farm, if I don't know you're a beekeeper, and I don't know what you're doing, and I know you, how do you get other people to trust you if you can't even get the fucking people you live around, know, grow up with, went to college with, and they don't know what you're doing when they all go somewhere? They know somebody. And unfortunately, in this world, if we don't preach it and speak it, we won't do it.
yeah.
I agree.
And we get caught up, right? So let's keep going.
And, and, and the whole key thing is ask.
Yeah. But we
Who
don't.
asks anymore? Who asks anything? Most people don't ask. Hey,
Hold
man,
on.
what line of work did you come from? Or how long have you been in it? Oh, well, I know this, and this. Well, hey, if you know a few of them, can't we can work together and open it up? Yeah.
Well, I got to get all I can do is see through the holes in the box. I can't get somebody to help me take the box off my fucking head. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
No problem.
You're looking through rose-colored glasses. You only see one thing.
Take a genuine approach so that people know that you actually genuinely care. You're not just calling them like a big box broker, asking them for freight because it's just going to be brokered out or whatever. We
Yeah.
have mouths to feed, we have employees to take care of, we have business to do, and we pride ourselves in the ethics that we conduct and on time, good service, yada yada. But also, too, yeah, you have to ask these genuine questions, and then two, you were talking about without the word, but it's essentially awareness. You have to make the call. You have to make the reach. Talking to people. Yeah, I wrote it off a little too quick. Yeah, I was in the run there last night.
Because you were busy.
Kids running around.
You were busy though. I caught you off guard. The kids are in the background. That's why. But I just made it a point in sales. You told me once. I think it was you. We always talk about it. And then even my one buddy I'm not talking to, we always made these things. When a customer calls you, even if you're on your boat, do you answer?
You got it.
That guy's the busiest motherfucker in the world. Hey, shit, I'm scratching my balls, taking a shower, and getting ready to bang my wife. But I'm busy. I'm moving your freight. I just got off the phone with Charles.
When you're doing the
Yeah, that's the urgency. But then we get caught up and forget we're always supposed to be doing that. Remember, like when you're
I'll
at the pump,
be right back.
and, yeah, you remember when you're at the gas pump and there's that big hairy looking guy with his ass hanging out the back and his belly, and you're like, you don't want to talk to him. The one time I always joke, no matter if anybody ever talks to you, it's your job to make a point to know who they are. You know what I mean? Because you never know. That guy I fucked up on because I didn't get his number was the guy that ran the contractor sign at GE Aviations right here in town because they have a union side and a contractor side. Two different elements because one guy is different than the other. I missed the whole opportunity. And every time I think about those incidents where I give you another story too, where a guy owned a manufacturer and the dude was walking through the alley. My pug went through there. I got pissed off because he wasn't smart enough to stop my pug and he kept walking, but he had Bluetooth in his ear. That's why he did it. So then I followed him and I just got ready to call him a motherfucker. And then the guy that owned the big factory walked out of the door and I was like, oh, that's his son. Good examples, right?
Yeah.
So I got a good slide. So first thing we were talking about in here today is why do people start a trucking company? We got the part making money, want to build something for our kids. And we're
The-
bored, right?
the
Because we
incentive
good
system.
investment idea, right? The investors.
I
We
was
talk
gonna. I
about,
laughed at the last one. Bored. I don't know if I'd pick transportation if you're freaking
I
bored.
know, but it's, you listen, look at all the calls that we've taken over the years with people when we're helping them. You tell me you didn't have people that were like, well, I was bored. I got some money laying around. I figure I'd do something different. You know what I mean?
I've had investment opportunities with equipment financing and purchases. They want to provide the trucks, sure. But I was like, do you know what it's like to be up 24/7, 365? Like the guys that have been in here do, that's for sure.
So while Charles is gone, I got my favorite slide. So this is the 10 reasons for today because we're going to do marketing. I guess you like doing this with it. You come on anytime. We love you. I'll send you the link every day. Jump in. This kind of gets us motivated, helps us rethink what we're doing, kind of gets you inspired. If you got topics you want to bring in that day or change it up because you got something on your mind, this is where we talk about it.
Yep.
It
I'll
helps us
try
and
to
me.
bring on in as often as I can, give you at least 10 to or 15, 20 minutes of my day in the mornings. I can do that.
Whatever. You love this stuff. You'll be in here. You'll be like, whatever. All right. So
This
I
is
got
fun.
I got 10 reasons. This is great. Why people fail in the first 1 year or less. 85% before this is before COVID and before brokers got strict. Because remember, before COVID, there was 10 times more brokers that would use somebody in the first 90 days. Now it's the total opposite. It's almost you're in trouble. So we're going to add that on top of it. So my first subject on here is how many people fail because they don't understand insurance. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that's a big one?
Yeah, that's your biggest expense, at least from our standpoint. Insurance is our biggest expense. You also have in there, I saw, where is it? Wrong equipment.
We're going one at a
You
time.
purchase equipment that continues to break down, and you're not on the road pulling revenues. That's another big one. But I would
No
say
cheating.
insurance is your highest expense.
Ain't no cheating. We're going over one at a time.
I know.
All right.
Those
Now
are the top two.
what? I got it. Yeah. So insurance. What's a couple reasons why they fell in insurance, Mister A? That's what I want to know. Is it they don't understand what direct bill and finance is? That's huge, isn't it?
You can deal with that. Yeah, I mean, you know more of this on the compliance side than I do.
Well, I mean, how do you grow if you don't understand how to diversify and flip your insurance, and you're sitting there at Progressive worried about 20,000 a year when it's really only 350 a week, which is 5% of your product?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a huge one?
Yeah, of course.
Because if you're direct bill, you stop and go. If you're finance, man, yeah, we've all been there, right? Where you have the down payment up front, you can't grow because you got to pull it out of your pocket because the dickweed you're hired on don't have it. And then he quits 3 weeks later, and the fucking finance company wants to hold your cash now, and they don't care. Then when you think you're getting the cash back, they throw it into your premium, and you're not a numbers guy like Jared, so you figure it just pops back up because your agent's going to help you.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big thing. Not to mention, depending on your binding and what you're covered. There's a lot of carriers that go out there, they go with the minimum, and they might not be covered on the freight that they haul, but they say, screw it, it's the only load around, I'll haul it anyway. And sometimes it's a horrible scenario where, either the reefer fails, or this is in food, or there's damages in some sort of claim. And
That
then
goes
you're
back
not
to the
covered. You're
equipment where
covered
you're
a
at, right?
$40,000 bill. Are you going to float that on one or two trucks with zero balance your bank account? Probably not.
That goes back. That rolls right back into the big one that I knew you would go right to is the equipment again, right? That low. So we could skip ahead. So insurance, not understanding reefer breakdown, how it affects everybody instead of one. Not understanding the drivers that know the equipment. You're just chasing the money because they said it's great. Then you freeze a load of strawberries in March out of Florida because it's the double temperature on your thing, and the guy reads the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. I've had a customer back at the company I first started with. One of my colleagues at the time had a customer that wrote the bills in centigrade, in Celsius. And he ran it at 5 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 5 centigrade.
My favorite one is the guy that did a load that was minus 10 before.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't change it because he picked it up from a driver that already had it preloaded.
Okay.
And the outside temperature was between 30 and 40. And so he thought because it's those new temperatures on there where it shows the temperatures, the two temperatures on the reefers. So he went with the outside one and loaded it and no one caught it. Like even the loaders loaded it with it freezing. But whose fault was it?
No, it is, of course.
I know the bills right here on the dotted line, baby. So, okay, so we talk about insurance. What do you think about not all the guys that come in that don't really understand the income part of things, like making a paycheck or what they really need in front to have to work those amount of days? Like, let alone, we're not even talking about brokerage, right? That's a whole nother slide.
Business 101. I had a discussion with a fairly successful guy. It was actually a group of people we were talking about it. Everybody is wowed by the fake Instagram bullshit where everybody's making a ton of money driving around these Lamborghinis and whatever and taking pictures on in exotic islands and yachts and blah, blah, blah. They don't understand that that's all fake and bullshit, that there is no such thing.
So this is coming from the people with money, right?
Yeah, all of us are talking. I mean, everybody knows if you're in business, you know how hard it is. We had a heart-to-heart the other day, like, oh, man, this is a real tough situation right now with what's going on in the market and all that.
So quitting last night.
You need to plan and continue to plan. And you're saying income, so on the side, you need to have sales experience and sales expertise, how you're going to land direct customers. If you think you're going to sit on the low boards and make money, you're going to make some money, but are you going to make enough on margin to cover your costs and pay yourself and pay off your trucks and your insurance, breakdowns? I'm not going to keep getting ahead there, but
it all rolls in. It all rolls in. Breakdowns, wrong equipment. You know, I mean, it's weird because they all combine together, but they're really separate topics. Because having money in the bank could go into income, but there's so many different things that you need the money in the bank to have nothing to do with the breakdowns.
Right.
Is that you, Lefty? You scrattling in there? Do you hear that? Is that his background? It's not. It's not Jared's. Yours or mine. I think your signal's dying. Log out, come back in. That was a little noisy. I could hear you. All right. So here's a big one that I find 90% of carriers will fail from. The third one. Most people, even in general, when we talk all the time, when I ask their hiring process or how they protect their company, the government makes a program that's called PSP, and not one person has it in their application. People all the time tell me they're going to go after the guy with 3 jobs in 10 years to haul for the produce companies. But all those 3 companies are out of business, right? But the guy with 15 jobs in the last 5 years, and they're all still in business. And then we look at those 2 different drivers, and immediately you hire the guy with 3 years and you can't refer the company. And then the guy with 3 years stayed at the company because he was a loyal driver, but his safety score has 42 violations on it.
Right.
The guy that jumped jobs kept his truck up and still made it. And he's clean as a whistle. But we get caught up in our product because we don't understand how to maintain our safety score or our CSA. And I believe that's like 50% of what people fail in their first year is just the CSA score alone.
Something that I can suggest to any of you guys listening is have basic mechanical knowledge. That will go back to finance and unnecessary expenses. Taking your truck into a truck stop, Love's TA, you name it, your minimum bill just to change the light bulb is going to be a couple $100.
What about tow?
Have a minimum set of, sockets, screwdrivers, all basic tools in your truck, and you need to know how to use them. You go in and you pick up a bulb for $5, you replace it. That goes back with your CSA score. If your bulb's out, and we're going through a DOT brake blitz week right now, you need to make sure that your slack adjusters are working, that things aren't rusted out. And that goes back to having the amount of income that you need. So as you said, this is like a waterfall effect. Everything does come together, but you can break it down in a little.
But you're the owner of the company. So all these drivers in new age, I mean, okay, so do you make sure they know that when you hire them? Do you go over that list with them when they hire? Do you make sure it's in their truck before they leave, or you just throw them on? And do you make them come in and do it, or you just figure they should know because they're a driver?
Well, you got to go over it. You have it in writing because everything's there. They can go over the list in the truck. I have so much stuff to do. The wife gets annoyed because my phone, and you've heard it go off twice already. I have alarm after alarm every 10 minutes, and I'm very punctual. I have to get this all done throughout the day.
I don't imagine.
And she's like, what the hell? We're eating breakfast with the kids this morning at 6:40. But what is this alarm for? Like, it just interrupts stuff. So you guys, no matter how good of a person you are, we need reminders. So with that story, give your
And
driver
HubSpot's free.
give your drivers or yourself, a helpful reminder on like a sheet that just says, okay, this is what we need to do here, 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 and here. And I believe it's a requirement from the FMCSA anyway to have your SOP in the truck for each driver, your requirements for, drug and alcohol testing, the legalities of that, your pre-trip, e-logs, everything. You need that in the truck anyway.
I think you have
So,
5 things you do when they're in a wreck. What
right.
2 things not to do? It's all supposed to be in the door. So
Yep,
when it's
all contacts, everything. And that goes back to the Shaggy's Consulting Services, where I need to actually talk to you about a couple more things. Remind me this afternoon or tomorrow morning, but I don't want to steal your show.
all right.
So
Well,
that's all very important.
They kind of like it when we get off track because off track's where the good stuff comes out.
Sure.
And then when we go off track, like tomorrow, we can do it. And when we go off track, it's better to do it here because we give people to think from our experience or things that we're doing. It opens up people's mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, so that's it. Yeah, scores. We have, I don't like to flaunt it, but we have a perfect score as an asset trucking company.
That's not funny. That's hard fucking work.
It's hard work. It takes a lot of time. Some people say it's not worth it. It doesn't matter, but I can tell you for sure it does matter, especially in a bad market right now. I don't want to say it's a bad market, but it's certainly difficult for those who don't have good scores, who don't have good income, who don't have good insurance companies.
Okay.
Out
You're
there.
a Blue Book guy, right?
Huh?
You're a Kelly Blue Book, right?
Yeah, we're listed.
Yeah, so when I go to Kelly Blue Book and talk about Kelly Blue Book, a lot of people that get into the brokerage world and freight world never even get to Kelly Blue Book or even freaking understand that. A lot of customers, if they don't see you on Kelly Blue Book in the Reaver world, you're never even going to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And then there's that Duns and Bradstreet that goes along with it. It's like, I don't believe in them, but it's weird. If they don't see 1, 2, and 3 things, you're not even going to talk to them.
Well, Blue Book is for produce.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. It's different. It's not for my freight. You know
And then Better Business Bureau is another thing. We're, I don't know what it is, AAA, whatever. I have it up on our wall here.
So what I was getting at, those guys that are in there, if you walk in without corrective action plans, safety scores, and all that good stuff, are you going to work with them?
I won't. And legally too, if you have a bad enough score and you're conditional, you need to write up a letter for the FMCS. I think it's the FMCS, one of the government groups. That this is your corrective action that you're going to take to fix your scores, or you're out of service. You're done. They're going to put you out of business. So yeah, it's extremely important. And then back to the story of, or the idea of having a better score than just about everybody is, if even if you're on the spot market, let's just say working hauling for brokers, even on the DAT load board. You might not think it works, it has that much of a difference, and because they're going to just pay the cheapest carrier. One, be extremely good at negotiating. Get that. It takes years. Keep practicing. But with the CSA score, if there's some asshole behind those guys that you're talking to, that broker, and there's 3 or 4 other phones you hear blowing up behind them, and they have all these people that are trying to book with them, and these guys are conditional, or they don't have a great CSA score, or they're not good at negotiating, they just don't have good rapport. Every single broker we haul for, we have a perfect on-time record, good communication, et cetera, et cetera. Like, go above and beyond for every single person. Just because you don't like brokers doesn't mean you do a good job. Don't do a good job for them. Do a good job for everybody. And with the CSA scores, that usually gets us the load when there's 3 or 4 other carriers that are willing to do it at the same price, or maybe even $100 cheaper, because they know we're going to pick up and deliver on time.
Why is that?
Because we have good scores. Our equipment is.
But why are brokers so up on that? It doesn't even have nothing to do with the fraud or double brokering on the scores. Why, as you as a broker, do you want the carrier to not have a bad safety score or Rex with your load on it? The one, remember, you're going to give him permission to pull your load, right?
Right. But there's a lot of liability there.
C.H. Robinson just thought the government lost.
There's liability from the broker, what would you consider them? I guess the sales rep side. They want things picked up and delivered on time, and good communication. They want the driver to either be tracked or be able to communicate where and when, where they are, what the reefer for refrigerator freight is running at, and you've got to send those updates to your customers. It's important to keep everybody in the loop and updated, and we'll stop there. I don't want to go into too much about sales and management.
Right, I was just getting to the part with the lawsuits because I read all the articles where TIA and CH Robinson because you can only text check so much into the inspections because the way FMCSA is, and FMCSA don't want to change. So anytime there's a wreck where there's a fatality or a towaway, you have a really good odd that you're going to be sued.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that's happening is because we can't tell hours, we can't tell how many he has left, we can't tell this stuff. So until you have proven inspections or you have proven history of a good score that you're doing it, or you have volume, and they're like, well, that's discrimination. No, it's covering my ass because you're not paying the claims.
Mm-hmm.
Drug carriers aren't, they go on about their business.
Right. That's right.
Well, we get to play both hats, right?
It's fun. You think you have a headache running a trucking company? Wait till you run a trucking company and a freight brokerage.
Yeah, go back to the accessible equipment.
All right.
That's a good topic for you. You know, like Frank's liability, you're probably liability in both. Well, that's my biggest pet peeve when I
What
talk
do
to
you
people.
mean by inaccessible?
Wrong or in it, or it's like wrong equipment or equipment that they don't understand. And like I probably put the wrong word on there, but like wrong equipment. You pick the wrong equipment, box trucks, straight trucks. You
Oh, you
don't
mean like
understand.
you buy, say, a flatbed and there's no flatbed freight to move?
Yeah, or you
Oh,
buy a flatbed and you never tarp the sucker and you experience it while you go, or you buy a reefer and you don't understand anything about the reefers. Your drivers don't. You just understand the money. Or you get a dry van and you can't tell me what logistics bars, E-Track, logistics posts, how to split the trailer, what vents are for, insulated while dry. You know, the equipment. What is the
well,
equipment?
let's either change that or add in another bullet under there that just says not understanding your market. You need to understand your market. This doesn't go for trucking. This goes for every single business in the history of man. You need to understand your market for you to have income, for you to work with all these other little points on this board.
So we'll go over to Charles then, because this is more of he's the mechanic, right? That does all this stuff. Hey, Charles.
Yeah.
So what about wrong people starting their authorities like your buddies and getting the wrong equipment or inaccessible or equipment that doesn't work for them?
Yeah.
Not understanding like power only, trailers, dry van, flatbeds, or even the trucks and motors, right, Jared?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Trucks and motors.
That's what I was getting at. That's been my
Yeah.
slide. I'm getting at trucks, motors, like you and Frank, everybody talk about, like Jared was talking about yesterday. You get the wrong truck that can't haul reefer. Well, doing a simple dedicated dry van freight, it's not like hauling over the mountains
Mm-hmm.
No.
or oversized, but you're
Yep.
doing it with a Cascadia DD15 with a. But I'm not a mechanic, so you know
Yeah.
the wrong rear end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wrong gears in the rear end, the wrong transmission. If you ain't got it set up for that type of line of work or the specs into that line of work, you are not going to. A truck is not going to be feasible for you. You'll end up having more breakdowns with it because you're tearing it up. Two, you're going to be paying out the wazoo for fuel because it's going to eat more fuel trying to do what you need it to do. You're going to have more expense than what the truck is worth.
And the other part goes back to what Jerry was saying. The equipment part, wrong equipment goes right along. That's why I put it by breakdowns, because if you don't know how to change light bulbs, if you don't know how to do this, it's not only the bills that you're going to pay at a truck stop, it's that always that one saying. You're a little guy with one or two trucks, and you're like, well, I'll get that one fixed at the next place. But the scale house gets you in the middle.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's 30 points for 2 years of an hour service. 10
Yes.
times 3.
I mean, what about the guys that you're saying? Shaggy said he's a mechanic. What about the guys that throw on a friggin' eBay turbo because they're trying to save some money?
Yeah. And half the times that ain't even the right one, or it's not exactly right. You end up blowing them up.
Something, right? That's going to take more time. I had somebody do that on actually a brokered load because we sub out most of our B loads. I don't move flatbeds, and when we're moving 60 loads in 2 weeks, it's even outside of our realm of references that we work with.
Or like the ones going, hey, I could buy these on eBay. They're a lot cheaper. And that's the EGRs. They go out and buy the EGRs because they're cheaper. Normal EGR is in between $1,500 to $2,000. And they're like, hey, I can get it for $1,000. Get them. They're only good for maybe a month.
Right.
A month.
So,
and then you're out that money.
Even if everything matches up and it's the right trims, they put on some crap Chinese turbo and they're going up a steep grade and
yep, and there it goes.
Turbo, and then you're really down. Talk about, it wasn't you. It was I was listening to Frank this morning on my commute talking about the scammers and stuff. I thought that was another good one. So much damn good content. Anyway, he mentioned real quick about a wrecker bill. They'll name whatever the hell they want, and if if you blow a turbo out there in those passes, it's thousands, if not probably they'll get you probably for 8, 9, 10,000.
Isn't it just like a 30, 40 mile tow without road service? I think Rig Nation told me it's $1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And
What
then on
about
the towing side, if they come out to you, it's usually if you're stuck on an uphill incline and your turbo goes out and they got to pull you up the hill with all that weight, it's usually $5.50 to $6 a mile start because you don't get none free, and then you count the hookup, which is in between $150 to $300, depending on what it is and what type of truck you got to have and the work they got to do to pull the actual drive shaft or whatever to get you rolling. Yeah.
isn't it funny, guys, how I say I'm listening to you guys talk about the negative, but in an idea, suddenly I think about the positive of it because look how smart those guys are. See, those guys didn't go out and just do something general.
Mhm.
They picked something specialized where what they do is needed
Yeah.
Yeah,
instead
and
of
they'll
hauling
get you at
cheap
a
freight.
premium because everybody's always in a bind at that point. I don't like focusing on the negative either. I told you that on
Yeah,
Friday, Thursday, whenever I talk to you, you got to have a positive mindset
yeah.
in business.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have to
well,
remind myself of that. But this whole page is all negative. But
hey,
we definitely have to focus on more of the positive. All you guys out there listening to this,
no,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. But those are the problems that he has listed.
that's the whole point of the page when I was going to finish the show. Everything on that page isn't negative.
Yeah.
If you just pay attention to it and you do it like Frank says all the time, this business was not hard.
No, it's not. You got to put your mind to it and you can do it. And the thing is, a lot of people go off the negative instead of the positive of what they could do. If you look at it, if I decided to start another trucking company today, first thing I'm looking at is what alleys that I already know. I already know what type of truck that I need to be running. If I'm already working for a company and this is the truck, I'd be getting the specs on it. All right. So if I want to go in this line of work, but I want to do it for myself, I right there, I already know what type of truck I need because I'm already driving it. I know what the specs are. Then turn around and sit there and I already got avenues. Start opening my mouth before I start buying. You know what I mean? It's once you get the connections and you already know the equipment because you're already driving it and you know what you're hauling, you know what you already got 50% of the battle already conquered because you already got the equipment, you know what you need, you know what you're going to be hauling, you already got lanes opened up for yourself, avenues. And if you got the money, you know how to do it correctly and get what you need. You already have connections with tire guys and all that because you're already dealing with it with the company you're working for. You already got avenues. Hey, man, if you get a truck, I'll cut you a deal. A lot of them are like that. They'll help you out to get started just so they can pick you up as a customer. That's the whole purpose. You
Yeah, we're gonna
scratch
have to
each
do.
other's back.
We're gonna have to do it. But next week, I'm gonna do everything positive. We're gonna do
Yes.
positive. We'll talk about positive stuff. We'll do script sales. We'll talk about things they should be doing. Like I love doing that. We'll do it. We'll talk about why. How can a carrier that's either started in the last 4 months or 5 months or last year,
Mm-hmm.
or a carrier that's getting ready to start, build a network to find people to work with before they start, or if they're already started, can we actually go back and restart and redo it the right way? Like, are
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
relationships still there?
Yes. Make the
What do you think,
connections.
Jared? Do you think if a guy actually used e-carrier check, did some posting with direction like I preach all the time, and that worked out and found Jared to call him, and Jared say he was specifically where you need to fill in lanes for your customers, and he was new, but he offered to work for you with volume, you would work for him if he was clear?
Of course, it's all about networking. It's all about
Well,
communication.
Yeah.
what makes you different than Charles, the guy that's the account rep for TQL or Coyote or Molo, Our Lunch, Suntech, with your brokerage and your trucking and that? Let's go positive. If I go, hey, because you're not on the low boards, you don't want to be on the low boards
Right.
because your customers are jeopardized by other people and stuff. So how do I find the people that aren't on the low board? People like Jared, the guys that want real numbers, understand trucking, have assets, and know what it's like when you're stuck on the road. Those brokers. Because there's shit tons of them. 95, probably 90% of the true industry, you know for a fact, is Jared.
Word of mouth.
No, am I wrong, Jared?
Yeah, you're right.
Tell
No,
us.
but what I'm saying is word of
Yeah.
mouth is a big key to that. To finding Jared off of the load board. If you working with drivers and drivers actually sit there and he's straightforward like he is right now, like we are friends. We're sitting here talking. He's giving it to me straight, not lying, telling me the truth, everything down to the T. And I agree with it. And the man's treated me right. I run for him for 6 months, and I give him a deal and say, "Hey, I'm gonna run for you in 6 months, and we're gonna see how it goes. Anything over or under that, then we'll decide from then and figure out where to go."
Jared, for
And for
you,
6 months, he works with me, and everything works out perfect. You don't think I ain't on the phone? Hey, man, you need to be coming over here to
Everybody
Jared.
talks. Yeah.
Jared's got the deal. The man's work. I worked with him for the last 6 months. The man's been straight on everything down to the T. I ain't had no issues. You need to come over here. Word of
Britson
mouth
called.
does it.
Go ahead, Jared. I know you want to add into that.
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. There's something, I don't know if you're going into that side of things or not, Shaggy, but you're notorious for having lists and utilizing e-carrier check and others like that. So that's another way with today's technology that I'm just now diving into it, where there's these networks that show you with these tools like e-carrier check. You can go to a shipper and it'll show you some of the carriers that haul for them, some of the brokers. You can call those brokers that match up with the shipper if that's a lane in a city and state that you want to originate and bring a load to wherever. And you have to pick up the phone and call. It's sales
Dude,
on any aspect of everything. Sales is picking up the phone and communicating and networking, and you'll get your residuals, of course, from doing a good job. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Always be a good person, always be honest, and your business needs to reflect that as well.
well, check this out. So every day people call me out. They come through our videos. They don't listen. They fly through here. They say we're crazy. I see it
Yeah.
because it says my impressions are 3 seconds because they go farther. It shows me who watches us for minutes. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there
Exactly.
going, three things I talk about. Let's be positive. You said no negative. So I'm a trucking company or I'm a broker, either one or both. I spent my life savings, followed whatever those lists were. I'm king of whatever. I jumped into trucking. If I'm a broker or a customer and I needed your product that you want to sell, if you even know what it is, if Jared is looking for that person, and there's two things I want to mention. And he goes, the only place Jared has to go to find that guy is fucking FMCSA,
Mm-hmm.
Carrier 401, or a site like eCarrier Check. And you look up the numbers. Now, eCarrier Check's different, but before eCarrier Check, we had to see sites to give us a list of numbers where carriers in an area, right?
Yep.
Or they set up a broker packet with me. So, but most of us don't even do that. The first thing we do is go to the posted trucks, and half the guys on there play anywhere zone one, or you can automatically see their dispatching service.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the problem in the industry, we all think we know what we're doing, but we can't find you. And when we do you're not telling us what we want. And everybody's all like confident and tripping out. So they come to my training class, just like Jared. And they could be in business forever, Charles. And they think they're so tough and everything. And the first thing I do is pull their company up on eCarrier Check.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jared's got a brokerage, right? So with eCarrier Check, and today, I can't, unless Jared tells me his customers, I can't find out who Jared's customers are with his brokerage. But it's the funniest thing when we network. I can find if I find one carrier that's pulled with Jared for over the last 2 years that factors, and he's had DOT inspections, I'm going to find Jared's customers. And it's all about networking and researchers. So these carriers come in all confident and they think they're tough. And the first thing I do is look up a few information, see where they're located, pick a few shippers that are in their area to the list I already have. And I call them up like this and say, ring, ring, ring. And Jared answers the phone. And two things are going to happen. One, Jared's going to be like, hey, how are you doing? Or he's going to be saying, what do you need? Because he's busy right now. Because he has those two modes. When Jared says, what do you need? What do you want? What can I help you with? That didn't mean have a fucking 3 hour good conversation about drinking beer. And if you ask me how I'm doing, we're going to talk about me drinking beer, the news, and what's going on until I hear his voice change. And then no matter what I'm doing, I'm going into sales, whether it's an owner, operator, driver, carrier, whoever I'm recruiting. That's how I am. And one thing anybody that knows me, I leave nothing on the table. I cross everything. It's just the way my brain works. So I call up Jared like this. I'm like, ring, ring, ring. Hey, Jared, I noticed you're in Florida. It looks like you do reefers, and it looks like you've been in business this long. Hey, are you guys a broker or a carrier? Depending on what he was. I'm trying to find out what he's doing. Maybe I'm looking for his customer. Maybe I know he pulls for a customer as a broker. I love this because people are so doing research. So I'll do this training with them because they're all tough, and I'll actually do it right to them on the phone. I'll be like, ring, ring. Hey, I'm so and so with Shaggy's Logistics. I was calling. Is this your truck company? You guys still in business? Hey, I had a few questions for you. Do you got a minute? And they're like, yeah. Hey, do you guys work with brokers or you have customers? And then, so you have customers. Does that mean you're a broker then and you're working with carriers? Because I'm looking for some freight. See, I'm just angling it, right? And the guy's going along with it because he doesn't know better. So then Jared's getting to the point like, come on, hurry the fuck up, right? That's what he's saying. Like, what do you got? Because you get to that point when you're talking to an established carrier, new guy's different. And then I'm like, hey, I'm a sales guy. I'm professional. I really do a lot of sales, and I'm looking to network with carriers. Matter of fact, really, but I'm looking for Jared's brokers to find out what the customer's working with because we have to solve problems. So you teach this in class and you tell them, hey, I just told Jared, I'm going to tell Jared not only customers he may be looking to get, because I already know he's a reefer guy. But what if I told him 8 customers he's been working for a year and he don't know me? Did I get his attention?
Yes.
Did I get your attention?
Yeah.
You would get mine.
So I get everybody's attention because people are lazy and they don't think outside the box. So now you go and you tell Jared to his face, I got this person, Del Monte, this one, Dole, and these guys. And are you heard of this one too? And you're like, yeah, I'm familiar. Are you working direct with them? Do you have more freight than you can handle where I can help you? You're like, wow, these are crazy questions. Well, I was really wanting to work with those guys too, and you're not a broker. I'm actually going to do some sales and go in those guys. If I was to go in those guys and actually get some lanes, where do you guys run?
Yeah. That way
How
you're
much would you
helping out.
guys need to do those lanes if I was to go in and help you with this? Who are you currently working with to get their lanes yourself?
You also got to keep in mind that a lot of that's proprietary, so you have to build a relationship, and this is sales and sales experience and being a good salesperson. You can't
But what if
ask
you
all
just
those questions your first call. You got to get to know the guys,
right?
probably haul a couple loads for him, show that you're a
Well,
good guy, and then ask him what other freight you guys, hey, what other lanes are you guys moving on for this shipper? Say my trucks are in Miami 4 or 5 days a week. I got 7 or 8 trucks here. And what are you working on? And you
dude,
have to ease into it. You can't just ask them all these
dude,
questions. They'll shut down.
you know what's funny? You say that now. Let's go do 100 calls together and see how many do the exact opposite of what you just said.
Well, then I'd get rid of them because I don't want my sales reps yapping all that much
It's
either.
the same, but it's the same way when I call a broker and trade me, and I'm like, ring, ring, and he goes, Frostburg Logistics, and you're like, hey, or they call me, and at first they're like, well, they want me to say, one's to pick up, one's to deliver, what's the weight, what's the commodity, and then what do you do it for? And you're like, so you know what I mean? Or get me to say the target rate, this is all I got. But it always trips them out when I'm like, hey man, I really don't like working on load boards, Jared. You know, the reason why I post and I call or you call me is you got this in volume, or is this a one and done?
Right.
Is this the only customer you have? Or you guys got your own trucking company? Hey, is this something that delivers tomorrow that's going to be freaking left on it? If it's left on a dock, it's shut down a line, or does it do this? You know, is this something high value? Hey, you know what, Jared? I would love working with you, and I know you need us a truck, or you're looking for. You called me and you want it, and I've been having a lot of trouble with people in COVID and stuff, where employees aren't showing up and things like that. What's the name am I picking up at? You know, because it drives me nuts, and I'm doing it more and more when a broker calls me and then they tell me all about everything and then they say, oh, we can't use you in 6 months, but I know the customer allowed me. And I look at myself and I'm like, why did I just call the guy myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about
You got to
positive.
be good at it too. So I think that's where your expertise comes in training. I'm not the best at training people.
Yeah.
I lack the
And I
patience.
agree. But this is the point. Like, how many guys? Remember we were talking yesterday. No one wants to do real training. We want to go and get somebody give us a low board, get this stupid little script, go and do the 5.5s. We get the best rate, or we'll call 200 to get it, and we call that work. You know, one of the biggest things, like I've always told you when I train, I have this thing called live hands-on training, and then I have ghost trucking, and then I have network, and I have understand. It's 4 parts. So the live hands-on training, I always ask people, how can you be a broker or a trucking company if number one, you don't learn how to route, Google, and see what you're doing? Number two, if you don't learn everywhere before you learn where you want to be and how it all works by calling people and letting them tell you. And it's like, it takes years to practice. Not really. That guy Josiah that popped on yesterday, man, I spent he's coming in today. He's paid me $100 an hour for the last 20 hours, and he's went through the ghosting. He did 5 regions, tried to keep 5 different trucks as a brand new guy, posted, pre-planned out more than 2 loads at a time with fake loads from live brokers, real load sheets, and he tried to do it. He messed it up so many times. And then I had him do over 200 calls, calling people like you, going, hey, how's the load? And learning to jack the rate just for fun of it. And then after he learned to jack the rate and do all the calls and hear the stupid shit, the different kinds of brokers, how to identify the 3 different types of brokers. And then at the end of it, I told him, now call Jared and do it on an average with backhauls with your real number, because we do it all wrong first, and then we learn to do it right, and we understand that we really only needed 230 a mile empty loaded, or 250 to make that paycheck, or 270. Yeah. It's not both ways, not one way, because it's never one way. You'll never survive. And so if you don't, everybody's like, how do you make those calls? Well, why don't you stop and physically take a fucking 2 hours there a week and call all the other people that you're working with and let them teach you?
Yeah.
We don't do that, do we, Jared?
Well, most don't.
I don't understand why. Because you can time warp it. Maybe write down 10 questions that you ask a broker and just call people and like Jared. Call up Jared and Charles at their brokerage and just practice keeping the motherfucker on the phone for half an hour until he gets pissed off and tries to hang up. You know how good of an art that is?
That's a heck of an art if you can keep someone on there until you.
Oh, dude, I do it all the time. Man, I'll be like, hey, I'll go from brokerage, customer, talking about
freight. We ain't talking about the mystery machine over there. We know how you are. You're good.
But this is logistics, though.
Yes.
Isn't this what you signed up for?
What?
Isn't this what we signed up for?
Absolutely.
When you put that $1 million price tag on the side of your truck, you're invested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're at 50 minutes plus the 15. We got to get out of here. I love you guys. Thanks for coming on. Let's so next week we'll work when you guys come on. We'll get into this stuff. How's that?
Yes, that'll work.
And I'll even open up some slides and we'll talk about that crazy stuff. Because you imagine, Charles and Jared, can you imagine the first day I seen e-carrier check, right? I remember growing up with my trucking business. I lived in Kimondale, Illinois. And I was always dictated to the load boards, right? And right down the road, there was this dickhead with like 10 trucks named Disc Trucking. And he had his little shop right there and everything. And he had 10 trucks and 15 trailers. And when I bumped into him one time, he's like, yeah, we don't do broker freight. We do all customers right down the road. I seen his trailers all over the place. And I'm always working with brokers. And I'm like, man, can you imagine if all I had to do is type an MC number in or a company or a broker's name, and I could speed up the process and get what they're doing before that much power? If I knew what to do with that then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, anyways. All right, guys. I appreciate it. We got lots of work to do. You guys got any tips or anything for these guys before you go?
Think everything through before you do it. Make sure you do the research and verify what you're wanting to get into and who you're dealing with.
And Jared, what's your market niche right now that you're looking at for your owner operators? And they're grossing what? Like consistently, they're doing like what a week?
7 to 94.
Yep, 100. And they can go home or if they want to or not. And where are your lanes?
We operate essentially east of the Rockies. Our main lane right now is Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, over to Colorado. We do a short hop to New Mexico, stay on that triangle, and head back to the upper Midwest.
And how many do you need?
I'd like to bring on 3 to 4 more trucks.
And the difference between you and a lot is you have a background, you've been in the business, and you have customers and a brokerage, and most of your freight's from customers, not brokers.
At this point, we're about 50-50. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Well, no, I'm not sugarcoating it. Just like,
yeah, we're about 50-50.
50-50? But you're actively growing both sides, right?
Absolutely. Trying to grow our direct freight, of course, more than our asset side, because that you build for you guys listening about building business and all that, if you build your customers and you have good freight, everything else will come.
Yep.
So if you're making the extra 20 or 30% margin that these brokers are making, and you have the direct freight and you pay your carriers, especially bringing on owner ops, and they're making the split. They're willing to change their lane or their idea. If they're getting 20 or 30% more, if they're averaging, 30 grand a month, which most of our guys are, put 20 or 30% more on top of that. You're talking a significant amount monthly, not to mention annually.
Yeah,
that will allow you. I don't want to keep rambling on about that. We'll talk more about business.
Yeah, we'll do that next week. We're going to talk about building. You guys, I love having you on because I get tired of doing it all myself. That's why I come up with
reefer freight.
Yeah,
53 reefer.
Yeah, we're looking for reefers, 53 reefers. And he said runs. You already said pretty much everywhere, but you have specific areas you do the most.
East of the Rockies. I mean, if we have a driver that wants to go through the passes, we'll honor that here every once in a while. We don't move freight over to Cali or out of Cali unless we have some special requests from customers. They're paying 10 grand or something, and we always give our owner ops the choice of doing something that's out of their realm of operation. And I always tell all our guys too that are signed on with us, their success is our success, and full transparency and honesty is something that I provide to them, and I expect the same thing back. So, all you guys looking to grow a business, just be friggin' honest.
You go in
all
the
those guys out there that are scamming, the fraud that Frank was talking about the other day, it's rampant. And that's another thing, Shaggy, that I would like you to make a slide on, and we should spend at least 30 minutes on it.
Let's do it Monday.
How to avoid scammers and how to pick out which are the scammers.
So let's do that Monday. I'm not good at making slides, so I'll let you screen share, make a slide. We'll do it, whatever you got. I mean, hard pick, you write down 4 or 5 topics because I could go with your topics. I know, right? That's just, I'm not good at all this stuff. I tried it. My brain's ADHD, sorry. So, what's up? Monday we'll come on and we'll recap because, 2 things that are the worst in the industry right now. One is starting out as a new carrier with no relationships and how to find them. And number 2 is preventing the fraud.
Right.
Yes.
Let's do that Monday. That'd be a great show.
Yeah.
We'll start like 8:30 or something because everybody can't get to work. I can't get here by 8. It's hard. I'm always like running behind. Well, we'll get going about 8:30. We'll come on and enlighten these guys with some real experience, right?
None of these he's got to get his latte.
That's true.
Shaggy, you get that Starbucks?
No, actually, I use this my coffee machine right over there.
Yeah, I know, but I had to
Starbucks.
Yeah.
It is Starbucks now in the cups.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, you can't support it.
Latte.
I can't afford none of that. It's like $30 a box for like 15, man.
Right.
Shoot, I'm in the trucking business. I'm still trying to get. It's like that joke about you said the Lamborghini and everybody's like, well, Shaggy, you got a camper and everything else. So I got payments too. Yeah. You got the Mustang that looks like a 5.0 GTO. No, stupid. I bought it for $21,000 before COVID. The only reason I wrapped it and bought it is because it was $21,000. It's like the 4-cylinder with the turbo. It's not. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I mean, my biggest problem with me is not making money or networking or selling or stuff like that. My biggest problem in business is I miss part of the education level stuff. Not that, and I'm not a big book reader and stuff like that. So it hurts me because if I was a book reader, I would have read every book about accounting and taxes.
No, you don't need books for that. You hire an accountant.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. See, then again, you say that, but I had 2 of them. One of them is, I'll even say his name if I want to. He's a great guy, but he's a faculty at the ISU here in town. Many, many years. He trains business accounting, and he still screwed my shit up.
Yeah.
Well, you obviously have to.
It always good, but see, accounting's bad.
It's important. I had a horrible one too that I'm going through a lot of shit still to this day.
But the problem with them is they all want to grow, right? And when you get an accountant, if you don't find that, we could have a whole class on that too, right? Why should you find the right one? What should an accountant be involved in? Because should they be monthly? Should it be quarterly? Should it be one of those guys that just does the bank statements at the end of the year and leaves you hanging the rest?
Well, there's a difference. You have a bookkeeper, whether it's yourself or outsourced in-house. You need a bookkeeper that should keep your numbers weekly or at least monthly, so you know what you're making and losing. And then you need a CPA, which Shaggy, that is a full-time job. I outsource all that stuff.
I agree 100%.
Laws change weekly, especially with the crap that's going on in Washington now.
So let's talk about this in a show because this is important. Because why should they find the right one? It's like we're not accountants, right? But me and you and all of us can tell you because we're business owners and all those guys you talk about, every one of us had tax trouble. I guarantee it because of the way it goes up and down and packing.
And I'll give you another word of advice is always if you got your accountant, make sure you get another one to give you a second opinion to make sure the money is right on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
it's like
just
what
saves
kind
you in the long run because if not, you're going to end up getting screwed because one could say, hey, this one missed this, or where did that come from?
my wife just sent me a message. Not to be negative, just for you guys to think about it. Because I don't watch the news. I don't. Plus, I go to the barbershop or I see it on Facebook. And so I didn't even, until last night, I didn't even know COVID's ramping up.
Oh
We've
yeah,
been
yeah,
2 years in. My wife and I have been working on a taekwondo school to get it leveled.
yeah.
Can you imagine? Like every.
Don't focus on the negative again, Shaggy, just like we were talking about. Let's not focus on the negative, but turn it positive. So I was talking, you talked to Greg, and you're really good at this. So why don't you, no matter what, if the government forces this crap and more
Oh, yeah.
masks,
I was just like, hey, I was going to do another positive thing, right?
right?
So,
So if the
yeah.
government forces this crap on us again, I mean, you can pick your politics. You either stand for
I
it or
don't
you
have
don't.
politics at all. I'm with you.
But we're in trucking, right?
Yeah. That's
And
what
they're
I was
going to
going to
need
finish saying.
truckloads of those
Yours
friggin'
almost.
masks again. So hey, we'll make money off of it at least.
Oh yeah,
Bob
that's what I was
put it
getting ready
down.
to say. That's why I was getting ready to go. Thanks for taking it out of my mouth. That's where I was heading with that, right? Yeah, because it's like I tell my wife, I just text her while we're talking, and I'm like, we can't dwell on that stuff. All we have to
No,
do is
but
go.
hey, what's also nice is that if your wife does, if it, just saying on the other end, here's another positive. She can get with her students and do a Zoom class.
Oh
Do a
yeah,
Zoom class.
oh yeah. That's why.
It-
That's
yeah,
where we're
see
going.
what I'm
There's
saying?
always a
There's a
turn.
positive.
There's always a turn for every negative when we stay positive, when we have the right people like Jared and Charles around and Frank. And these people have been in business that are willing to take the time that we don't have to come on here and give you this great stuff.
I mean, frankly, and I'll say it here and I'll say it to anybody. I don't care who's listening. I will never close down again. And
I'm
I
not
hope that
closing
you
down.
don't either for your jujitsu. If
Oh,
your
we're not
people
closing
stand for
down.
the same things that you do, then keep your freedom and
I was,
keep doing your jujitsu classes.
that's where I was going to go with it before you got
Arnold
taken away
Schwarzenegger
from me.
want to say, "Screw your freedom." Well,
My message right here says, "Fuck them."
yeah,
Yeah,
fuck 'em.
Yeah, I'm not closing.
exactly.
I'm gonna be the guy and go in jail, and if I go to jail, I'm gonna do it publicly on my Facebook channel where we have like 2 or 3 million followers, and I'm gonna
Be
become
good for a million other people with you too.
yeah, I'm gonna be an activist. I'm telling you, because I don't really get involved into it because I believe like the rest of us, business is business and everything.
All right.
Yep.
But you could easily make me motivated. You know what I
But
mean?
when you do
Really
that, then you get
politics,
other
though?
people like me and that we put it on our podcast.
We're gonna. Oh yeah, that's what.
And
It's
then
not
it's all
even you.
yeah,
Can you imagine how many friends I have like you guys have been around for have platforms?
Yeah, I mean, but freedom shouldn't be political. Freedom is
No.
freedom.
no, freedom is freedom.
The problem why I don't do that stuff is I don't want to be like that one
Yeah.
group or that other group and the striking and stuff. I have to still work for a living, you know what I mean, and move forward. So I don't want to cross that line. But there's a point where you get to it where stupid stuff keeps happening and it does, and you're like,
And I'll say, being a podcaster, it's a thin line to walk too because it can make you or break you.
do you know how
I've
hard it
seen
is
I've
to
seen
do
some
what
of them that actually got into some of the riots into it and was on the right side, but it burned them and shut them down within a week. They were done. They were high end on
the
their
problem with doing it is there's always somebody else's agenda and what you're doing. So it's crazy. And it's so hard to be able to keep one track mind when you're trying to be motivational in that kind of way.
Right.
Because that's the problem. It's just
and the
like,
biggest part of it, a lot of people feed off the negative when something like that happens.
oh yeah, as soon as me
Well,
and you opened up that doorway, we'd have so many leeches coming in the
oh my
promote
God, yeah.
everything.
But then we would have so many followers and everything else to be wanting to, what more do you got? What more do you got? Be like, hey, if you want more, go pay for it. We'd actually have more prescriptions and more people paying for to see the negative than they would be
You
seeing the
know, a good
positive.
example is that you guys remember. I'll throw his name out there. I used to do videos, and there's this guy, my favorite truck broker, that used to fuck with me all the time. And he like one time I was doing what Jared said, teaching about fraud. Like I was like, let me show you on a video how fast I can rip you off as a dispatching service. And he spliced my video and only took what he wanted. So he couldn't do it in brokering, right? He couldn't do it in the broker trade. He failed at his 3 businesses. Then he when COVID started, he had all the riots. He's the one that changed his channel
Yep.
to the news, and he sat there and screened all that stuff. I'm looking for truck drivers in USA for dispatching. Please help me find them. And I'm sorry, man. I'm not a fan of dispatching services anymore, and maybe you can have a whole topic on why, even though I bounce back and forth. Sorry, we don't do that here.
You lie.
No, I don't dispatch at all.
Oh, you don't?
Dispatch a trucking company. Well, I bounce back and forth because of the compliance company, and Don does a little bit for like 3 carriers. But every time I have to go back nowadays to try to get a new guy going and deal with the brokers and stuff, I want to just like stab myself in the fucking eye.
I got you. Yeah, because it's so much of an
That's
aggravating.
scared. There's not enough time in a day for me to want to do that anymore. I just don't have time. I'd rather get customers and then feed the new carriers off the customers and use my customer freight. So I will help, but I'd rather make the money off the customers and help with backhauls to the guys to get back to my customers, let alone. Yeah, I don't want to be some guy for some country, 3 to 5%, trying to build some dude network that he leaves and calling him a loads all day. Now, I am dispatching next week for Dion Trucking, but so I'm still dispatching, but that's for a carrier that's 3 years old, and I'm only going to do it for him
Yeah,
because I'm using his trucking. We just landed 2 customers using his trucking company
gotcha. Yeah,
because before last year we were only a broker at Shaggy's. So
yeah,
I'm still going to open my own authority, but I want to get it to where I'm building his, and if I'm going to build his. I already put 4 owner operators on, and then I'm actually helping Jared get owner operators too because I'm got a mix. He wants the reefers, I want the flatbed and dry van. So we're kind of working together,
yeah.
and it's
So that
working.
makes
And
sense.
I just
Yeah,
geared it up. I just
yeah,
got
yeah.
going in the training.
Yeah. You're building like an AOL. You're doing a triangle connection, so everybody works together. Everybody's
Yeah,
making money,
because
and
you call
everything's
100
moving.
and the hard
Yeah,
part is I could go partner with Jared and use his trucking company. He would let me, and I could do the asset side and flip the customers. But I trust Jared. It's
yeah,
hard because I can get 100 people tomorrow say, "Hey, Shaggy, hey, you could use my trucking company," but your agenda is not based for me; it's for you. No matter what
yeah,
you tell me, how you praise me, whatever,
yeah.
it's that way. So getting the component to help you without doing it yourself these days, I'm
Hmm.
not getting burned no more. So like
Nope,
if I
that's
Shaggy,
did,
like
don't forget. Send me
I,
the job description. I'm going to keep asking you every day until you send it to me.
yeah, well, yeah, for the we already have it written. I just send it to you. The problem is getting everything ready to be able to take on that to do it. You know what I mean? Because if
yeah,
I
I
put that
know.
person in there and they give me 20 clients tomorrow, then then I have another problem,
yeah.
which is not a bad thing.
No,
Start
But
out
I got to
small.
get caught up, Jerry, with the first problem with the 2 I have, so that with everything's right, so I can do that next. As soon as that's done, we are definitely talking.
All right.
yeah,
We've already talked about it. The agenda's there. And, you can have all the work in the world, but if you can't make it, do it right, handle it right, and everything, then we're back to that damage control or reputation, right?
yep,
Right.
exactly.
So, guys, now it's 107, and we could talk for hours because we could go from one conversation to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yep.
But
I
probably
will.
people don't stay on that long. So, Monday, let's
I
come
will.
on if you guys are around, or Tuesday, whenever we get to that. I'll save it for the next 3. And let's talk about those 2 topics. Like Frank, hopefully Frank come on. We'll start about 8:30
Yeah.
Monday. Over the weekend, try to write down 5 things that you guys think these people need to know about fraud.
All right. All right.
And
Yeah.
then the next day we'll do a show on 5 things that you guys think these people need to do in your different opinions if they're new or they're in trouble and they're already established, but they're in their first year or so and they're only chasing freight on the load boards using brokers. What can they do to find Jared or build relationships to get lanes?
Yeah.
Those are great topics, right? Positive.
Yeah.
Also, too, we were talking about before. I wanted to chime in on that. You'll hear if you guys start calling out as say a broker, you'll hear asset only, asset only, asset only, and that's one way. Sure, it's a way to get people off the phone. If you're a good salesperson, you can probably get around it 70, 80% of the time because it's not corporate policy. It's just a way to sift through the wheat. But as a carrier, you also encounter something like, oh, you need more trucks. Well, that's all about your network. So partner with somebody like Shaggy or with me, and
Or you.
yeah, we
Yeah. Or
can
Dave.
work something out because the saying's true because it happens all the time, like power in numbers, and a lot of shippers want 10 or 20 truck minimum.
See, but you guys say it takes so hard to make calls, right? But the problem is the way we make the calls, right? Like I listen to Jared talk on his e-carrier check with those guys that sell one way. Not that they don't build relationships, but they're brokers when they call. They're calling directly to customers. Once we identify that there's 3 ways to find customers, not one. But if we're only one side of the business, it hurts us. So, one thing I give a tip before we go. Every sales call, just like the one I'm going to do here in a few minutes with Simon, I like the word logistics in my name when I'm doing sales. And if I'm informed on both sides with what Jared just said, 90% of the time they're going to ask for assets. Well, what I see is we could do a show on the mistakes people make in calls, how they don't say the right words. We'll do that show too, right?
Yes. That's what you ought to do is do a video of doing a call to a broker or to a carrier. So
We'll
that
call
way
right
people
here with
can
you
see it,
3
and then
in
we
here.
can stop it and talk about
Dude,
the
I will
message.
not. We'll do it right in here, and you guys think I'm nuts. Wait till that gatekeeper will ask me, "How are you doing today?" And I'll tell her, "Shit, I woke up this morning. My wife told me I was crazy. I started drinking my noon." She'll laugh, and then I'll go, "Hey, my name's so and so. I know you guys do this. You have this kind of flatbed, this stuff like that. If I was a broker or carrier, who you're working with right now? If not, who do I need to talk to get there?"
Sounds good. This is my second video here with you, Shaggy. You doing is it like just once a week, Monday morning,
No, I do
8:30?
it Monday through Thursday.
Oh, Monday
Yep.
to Thursday. Okay.
Monday
Only
through
reason I don't
Thursday.
do Friday because I leave e-carrier checks 11 o'clock show alone, and I just I don't do it on Fridays. But Monday through Thursday about 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay. If I could make, well, I'll make a suggestion to you offline. So
Sorry, I left
I take all
earlier.
kinds
I
of
had
advice.
the,
Call me. I'll take all kinds of advice. I just love doing the
I was
TV.
just gonna say like something for me. If I'm listening to a business podcast or talking to somebody or doing some coaching, I always for me, I'm looking for like a 30-minute block because if we're
I do, but you
providing,
guys never show up on time. So if you guys show up on time, we'll do 30 minutes.
yeah, I thought this was just like a
if
chat
you ever
session.
get
So
a
if you're
chance,
doing training, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, if we do
Gary-
training, we'll do it 2 ways. We can either post a webinar like we did that one time with you, and we all come in together and do it on a webinar where I share the link.
yeah,
Most of the time when I do these shows in the morning, it's just kind of like the only reason I do them is because I want to wake up. I like talking to people. I let people come on and just kind of wake up the day and get people going, and they can play it back all day long. But if we're going to get a little more in depth and break some stuff out to a point where we educate some guys, well, let's get them a little more organized. I'm all game. I got the platform built. How about let's do it? I don't
Yeah,
care.
well, I'm saying because people's attention spans or their days are busy. I've
Oh
been
yeah.
talking to you for an hour and I put an hour of stuff off. I didn't block out my time for even this video today, but you sent me the link, so I was like, shit, I'll go on and contribute to Shaggy.
yeah.
So,
He sends the link out every day, and I
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
do appreciate it. There's times
Yeah,
I
I
try to
do.
get on, there's times I
Yeah.
can't
I
because
send it to Frank, a guy named Sparky that's a reefer hauler that's friends with him. Anybody that wants to come on that has knowledge. I don't want nobody. Well, I even like the guys that just started yesterday because they come on, and if they come on, and they'll tell us what's going on, and just to have that interaction is cool. You know what I mean?
Have guests on that have questions.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to get it more involved. So it's only about a month of doing it consistently. So the hard part, because if you start doing training, number one, you got to be able to have short content. And number two, you got to be consistent in the time you start because people actually start scheduling for that time. I get it.
Yep.
And if you get a chance, check me out and look at my podcast. You'll actually see it, Jared. I do have a lot of positive, and I do have a lot of drivers that come on. Some of them are running low board, some of them are running straight dedicated. But you ought to check it out sometime and just see some of the stuff that I got going on. I usually broadcast on Sundays, but I'm fixing to start doing it on Saturdays and maybe once during the week.
It's Left Lane with Lefty.
Yeah, Left Lane with Lefty.
All right, I just subscribed to you. I'll check it out.
All right.
Yeah. Hey,
I do a lot of videos, a lot of trucks, and then I do.
And everybody on there is crusty, old, grumpy, and they've been doing it forever. Just so you know.
Those are the best guys.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
to rule out anybody that's interested in signing on with us, but shit, prove me wrong, please, guys. Come to me and prove me wrong. But my best guys are all 55 and over.
I'll do the martial arts thing for you real quick where you have to ask permission to talk. If I was a guy wanting to recruit old school owner operators and they had reefers and stuff, and I needed a guy that had those kind of connections, if you really had the freight to back it up, I would call this guy named Lefty. No, seriously, because
Some
that's who
people,
he
yeah.
deals with. That's his market. Am I wrong, Lefty?
Yeah, it is. I do. I have drivers that have been in it anywhere from 30 to 45. Right now, I got one that's been in it 45 years and still driving.
So Jared needs help with a few owner operators because he's the business guy and stuff. Like he said, he's not perfect at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It's not just a job at that point. It's
No.
that,
Yeah,
that
and I
generational.
do have certain people that ask me all the time that are looking, and I have a lot of new people that pop in all the time.
So if I was Jared and wanted to have guys and had a guy connected like Lefty and his Ofar friends that I like a lot, I would probably get on his show and tell what you offer. You know what I mean? It's called connections. They always teach. See, Jared got so big because he met Jared E-Carriage got so big because when I met him, he had 30 trucks. So he did all those webinars. And I get mad at Jared because he puts people on his shows that I don't really believe in. And I know people don't, but that's not why Jared puts them on there. Jared puts them
Not
on there.
me, Jared. Different Jared. E-carrier
Different
check.
Jared. E-Carriage Jared.
Spelled the same way too.
Yeah, not Jared at Frostbook, Jared at E-Carriage behind my head. He's one of my best friends. And even though I don't believe in what he does sometimes, I understand why he does it, right? Because it's for him, his software needs to draw everybody's network, right?
Yes.
And when
Not
we
only that, Shaggy, it's good to bring on contrary views.
yeah.
It
That's
really
what, yeah, I get that. That's what I mean. That's what I meant. Thanks for helping out. He does it for different views, opinions, elements, plus he does it to draw in customers.
Yep.
Because his product caters to all of it. He don't have to be selective. If it's dispatch training, brokers, trucking, it caters to everything. It even caters to insurance companies and other businesses that need that want. I mean, it does so much. So I get it, even though I don't like some of the people he puts in there and probably some of the content they put out. But he does. It's weird. He doesn't adjust. He stays straightforward and positive all the way through. It's crazy. And I understand. We watched Jay at Auto Transport Intel do that same thing. That's how he built his platform. Now he don't need none of us anymore. He's the biggest car hauling guy in the industry. He goes to all the shows. Hell, when he goes live and says Ty Thompson's going to a venue, people want their content so bad they do this martini glass thing, and people pay for Ty's trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I never wanted to be like that. I could have went that level and stayed with Frank and stuff if we would have stayed consistent because we got big. I've always just done it to help people and build a business. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now I got to think more business than helping, but or we won't be here. But anyways, let's go. We'll see you
I mean,
Monday.
it's just like me, left lane with lefty. I'm not in it to get so super famous that it's pathetic.
It's fun.
I'm here. The reason why I am here and I'm still here is because I am honest, straight up. I am who I am, and I bring on people that have knowledge and good vibes. We try to bring out the good in the industry as much as we can, and then like at the end, what can you see where everything's going? And that was the key thing. My key three things that I ask when I do an interview: how'd you start? What's your status? Where you see yourself in 5 years?
And see, I just do this morning show, but now that you guys are getting involved and I got all my old wisdom guys coming in, I like using my platform to help. So I open it to anybody who wants because it benefits all of us.
Yep.
So we'll come back Monday and we'll work on more fraud. So you guys think of 5 things that you want to tell people, and then once you two tell them, I'll add what I know to it.
All right. That'll work. Yep.
Monday, 8:30 a.m. fraud and starting a trucking.
Yeah, then we'll take a break on Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll do some networking. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll do it Tuesday. We'll do our Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever you want. We'll like take a break so you guys can work. And then Wednesday, we'll come on and we'll have a topic. What should I do, or vice versa, as a new carrier to network when brokers won't use me, or how do I reevaluate? And then we could do another show once we do that. And then how do we make the second call? Why do we leave the opportunities on the table? Because Jared sells guys too stupid and tells us. It's true. That's Jared's biggest problem, is protecting his own clientele.
Yes. That's with any business.
So negativity to one business turns into opportunity to the other, right?
Jared at eCarrier Check has a great tool. You can check it out and use it, but I can tell you it's not perfect. Thank God, because if it was, you'd find out everything we're doing.
Oh my God, man! And what's crazy? Sorry, I mean you just got in here, but it's crazy because I've watched that AI grow.
Yeah.
And what it's doing, I can only imagine what the next update's like.
Oh yeah, you can just imagine all the information that it's got. And then
The coolest thing that it ever
put
did.
out thousands.
The
Yeah.
coolest thing I ever did was when Jared called me up one day. Not this Jared, that E-Carriage. Jared called me up one day and he goes, "You know what the funniest thing our algorithm's doing? Is when we use the load boards and stuff, we can see double brokering and we can see the scams of multiple MC numbers." And he told me that he reached out to the load board companies to tell them that he could help them with it. And you know what they said?
They don't care.
They don't fucking care.
They
No,
make
they're
money.
making money off of it. Yeah. They're making money.
$600 a month on each one of these licenses, so they don't care.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised because
They're about the money. They're not worried. They're not about the customer or the product. They're about the
So,
money.
guys, we're way past time. Let's get these shows down a little bit because I know it's fun because everybody's getting to hang out with them. So, I really only want to do 30, 40 minutes because that's what keeps our audience and we'll grow it. So,
That's also
main
in your
topic,
limit.
8:30 Monday, topic fraud and
Mhm.
what to prevent it from both guys' views. We'll do broker and trucking. And then Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll work on the networking and we'll keep it at 30, 40 minutes like Jared does and we'll get out, right?
Yep. Exactly.
I can suggest doing Monday and Wednesday.
When's your next show, Lefty? Well, let's do Monday and Wednesday. I'm gonna start doing like 2 days a week.
That's fine. That's fine. Monday and Wednesday's fine.
When's your next show?
Sunday.
There you go. When
Sunday.
you're around, get Lefty, get a hold of Lefty and email him because I think
Unless
that'll help.
something comes up and someone comes up with something that's spectacular, and like right now, I got two things that I'm looking at now, and I'm doing the research to make sure it ain't false. But if it is true, then it may be even sooner. I may do it on Saturday and hit wide open on it. Yeah.
Give Jared your phone number.
All right. My phone number is 423 967
All right.
8169. That's my personal cell.
I'll shoot you a text so you have all that saved.
Yep, not a problem.
Thank
I
you.
love
I'll send you a link like he does on this. And mine will actually has mine will be StreamYard. It's
better mine.
It's a lot better than his. Yeah, but
Hey, don't be
I'm
rude.
trying to get him to go over to it, but he just likes sticking with
No,
it.
it's just my problem is I gotta take the time to have somebody like you show me how to set it all up and download it and all that.
It
I
is
know
so
it's easy.
easy.
I know, but it's taking the time. I'm not a tech guy, man. I'm a salesperson. See, there's a difference.
It's real easy. Just hit download. It automatically puts it in there, and then you just go arcade broadcast. Boom, wherever platforms you want to hit that you're registered to.
So used to you had to do that download thing and upload it into your drive and all that stuff. It wasn't just like an app.
No, you don't have to do that no more.
Oh, I'm about to try that.
No, go to StreamYard.com and then you just log in.
Shut
And
up,
automatically puts it there.
It's like, wow. It's kind of like when you tell the first guy there's a thing called HubSpot out there. It's a CRM for free and it'll tell you when to call your customers back, but you don't do it.
Yeah,
You still have a piece of paper,
All right.
All right, guys. Peace.
Later.
Thanks.